Welcome to the History in Focus channel. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this one. French forces used 14.5-inch railway guns during World War I. In this photo, soldiers camouflage one of these guns near the Western Front, preparing for a strategic long-range attack. An Allied pilot holds a bomb with a handwritten message during World War I. The conflict was the first to include land, naval, and aerial combat. Aircraft were used for reconnaissance, combat, and bombing, changing military strategy. Soldiers used flamethrowers during World War I. Introduced in 1915 by the Germans, this weapon projected streams of fire to clear enemy trenches. Both portable and fixed models were used across multiple fronts, causing destruction and psychological impact. Crater left by the explosion of 19 mines under German positions in Messines, Belgium, June 7, 1917. The detonation killed about 10,000 soldiers and was one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history, being heard as far as London and Dublin. A British munitions worker is manufacturing shells for soldiers on the front lines during World War I. During the conflict, women played a crucial role in factories, replacing many men who were in the trenches. Two civilians observed the wreckage of a locomotive after an air raid during World War I. The destruction of railways was a strategic tactic, crucial for disrupting enemy troop and supply transport. The Japanese fleet off the coast of China in 1914. Aligned with the United Kingdom and its allies, Japan attacked German interests in the Pacific, including colonies and leased territories in China. Japan sought to expand its influence in the region. The image shows the USS Nebraska, a U.S. Navy battleship, with dazzle camouflage on its hull in Norfolk, Virginia, on April 20, 1918. The camouflage was designed to make it difficult for enemies to estimate distance and speed. Soldiers unload massive shells, known as bunker busters, on the Western Front. Each projectile weighed 1,400 pounds and could create craters up to 15 feet deep, causing severe damage to enemy defenses. During World War I, major cities were also hit by air raids. Paris, being a strategic target, was severely damaged. Zeppelins were used, leaving large craters. German soldiers celebrating Christmas in 1914 during the World War I. At this historic moment, an unofficial truce occurred between enemies, where they exchanged gifts and socialized, creating the famous Christmas truce. Indian soldiers in a trench, 1915. They wear hoods that function as gas masks. World War I was the first to use poison gas as a large-scale weapon, with devastating effects on troops. The giant crater, 246 feet in circumference, was formed by an artillery shell in Ypres, Belgium, in October 1917. Such massive impacts were common during World War I, leaving deep scars in devastated cities. A little girl plays with her doll in Reims, France, 1917. Next to her, rifles and military backpacks rest on the ground. Reims was heavily bombed during World War I, with much of the city destroyed. Soldiers of the Welsh Guards in a reserve trench in Guillemont, September 1916. The Battle of Guillemont, part of the Somme offensive, was crucial in the attempt to break German lines, but resulted in heavy losses. Swiss border guards positioned behind a fence between Switzerland and France. During World War I, Switzerland maintained its neutrality, but its borders were carefully monitored to prevent infiltration and preserve security. On the Gaza front in 1917, Ottoman soldiers operate machine guns. The battle involved British forces fighting the Ottoman Empire for control of the Suez Canal, the Sinai Peninsula, and Palestine. The conflict was part of the Sinai and Palestine Campaign. Aerial image of trenches near Loos, Belgium, 1917. Fighting in this region was part of the Western Front of World War I. The trenches had complex structures for defense and mobility, while the craters resulted from intense artillery bombardment. Signal flares illuminate the battlefield at dusk after the attack on Beaumont Hamel at the start of the Battle of the Somme, 1916. This offensive, one of the largest of the war, lasted more than 4 months and resulted in about 1 million casualties among Allied and German forces. A French machine gun team positions itself among ruins during the Battle of the Aisne, 1917. The Hotchkiss M1914 machine gun, seen in the image, was France's main automatic weapon. This battle was part of the failed Naval offensive. Soldiers advanced through toxic gas during the Battle of Loos, 1915. It was the first time the British used poison gas, but in some areas, the wind blew the cloud back against their own troops. The use of chemical weapons intensified throughout the war. A wounded German soldier lights a cigarette for a British soldier in a field hospital during the Battle of Épinay, 1918. This offensive was part of the final phase of World War I, when the Allies advanced on German positions on the Western Front. Women prepare camouflage nets during World War I. In 1915, the French Army created the first unit dedicated to camouflage, known as camoufleurs. Many of its members were artists, responsible for disguising positions and equipment. The German submarine UC-5 ran aground in 1916 and was taken to New York, where it was used to promote war bond sales. Such publicity campaigns were common for raising funds during the conflict. The Imperial Camel Corps used camels to navigate the Middle Eastern desert, where the harsh terrain was an advantage for the animals. This unit was essential for logistics and military operations during World War I. American soldiers of the 117th Maryland Trench Mortar Battery operate a trench mortar in Badenweiler, France, on March 4, 1918. Mortars were crucial for destroying enemy positions during trench warfare. The photo shows biplanes flying in formation during World War I. Military aviation developed rapidly at the time, with aircraft used for reconnaissance, bombing, and aerial combat, changing the nature of warfare. British soldiers pose with a massive artillery shell during World War I in 1916 on the battlefield of the Somme. The cannon, known as the Somme gun, symbolizes the intensity and magnitude of artillery attacks in this period. Indian soldiers on the Salonika front, Macedonia, during gas mask training. During the war, Allied forces, including troops from India, fought the Central Powers in the region, facing chemical weapon attacks. French soldiers, some wounded, during the capture of Courcelles in the Oise department in June 1918. The city was a strategic point during the 100 Days Offensive, when Allied forces advanced toward final victory over Germany. A British soldier stands guard while his comrades rest in a captured German trench during the Battle of the Somme, 1916. This offensive lasted more than 4 months and resulted in about 1 million casualties, making it one of the bloodiest battles of World War I. British soldiers occupy a captured German trench during the Battle of Cambrai, 1917. The Mark IV tank, used for the first time on a large scale in this battle, got stuck in the terrain. This offensive marked the advancement of armored warfare tactics in World War I. Jewish legionnaires of the British Army pose in Giza, Egypt, during World War I. This unit, composed of Jewish volunteers, operated in the Sinai and Palestine campaign against the Ottoman Empire. The site was used as a training base. German soldiers operate a field telephone post in France during World War I. Communication at the front was essential for coordinating attacks and maintaining contact with the rear, but telephone lines were vulnerable to bombardments and sabotage. Russian Cossacks, known for their skill and history, were essential during World War I, with around 350,000 combatants. Initially demobilized from cavalry, they excelled in the trenches, playing crucial roles in battles. The Zeppelin LZ-59, known as the Raider of Loughborough, was shot down after attacking England's Midlands. The image captures the final resting place of its wreckage, marking a chapter in World War I's air warfare. British soldiers move an 18-pounder gun through the mud at Broodseinde Ridge in the Ypres sector. This action took place 2 days before the attack on Passchendaele, one of the toughest moments of World War I due to the treacherous terrain. A Belgian soldier smokes a cigarette while engaging in combat between Dendermonde and Oudegem, Belgium in 1914. The German invasion, initially swift, met resistance before reaching Paris. German Red Cross soldiers provide first aid after a gas attack. They carry bottles of liquid to revive those who succumb to the poison. The use of chemical weapons was a devastating innovation in World War I. American soldiers operate a 37mm gun during the Meuse-Argonne Offensive, France, 1918. This was the largest United States operation in World War I, involving over 1 million soldiers. The battle lasted 47 days and resulted in heavy casualties. French gunners receive instruction on machine guns, 1916. At the beginning of World War I, the French Army still used red and blue uniforms, making soldiers easy targets. In 1915, they adopted horizon blue for better camouflage. American soldiers attend a French language class in France in 1918. Language training was essential for communication with civilians and allies. Millicent Todd Bingham, known for her academic work, was one of the volunteer teachers. During World War I, the Germans used flamethrowers on the battlefield. Many of these devices were abandoned during combat and later collected by Allied forces. These fire launchers became feared for the brutality of their use. In April 1917, the Canadian Artillery Battery was in Neuville-Saint-Vaast, France. The horses, essential for transporting equipment, were covered in mud due to the harsh war conditions and terrain. Sappers were soldiers specialized in mining the ground to place explosives, a common tactic in World War I. They often worked in dangerous underground conditions to destroy enemy trenches, as shown in this 1918 image. Prussian soldiers in field gray uniforms marched toward the front line in August 1914. Along the way, women greet them, offering flowers. This was one of the first visible moments of mobilization for World War I. German prisoners of war under British Guard cleared debris in the French city of Bethune in the north of the country. After World War I, many prisoners were forced to perform labor in devastated territories. View of Verdun after 8 months of bombardment, September 1916. The Battle of Verdun lasted from February to December and was one of the longest in World War I. German artillery fired millions of shells, destroying much of the city and fortifications. French soldiers of the 370th Infantry Regiment have a meal during the Battle of the Aisne, 1917. Frontline food was based on soups, bread, and canned goods. This battle was part of the failed Naval offensive, which led to mutinies in the French army. Canadian soldiers take shelter in muddy craters during the Battle of Passchendaele, 1917. The waterlogged terrain made advances difficult and caused drownings. The offensive, part of the Third Battle of Ypres, resulted in more than 500,000 casualties. British soldiers crossed the mud to rescue a wounded comrade during the Battle of Passchendaele, 1917. The waterlogged terrain made movement difficult and caused drownings. This offensive, part of the Third Battle of Ypres, resulted in more than 500,000 casualties. Allied soldiers wait on stretchers outside a British medical post in Noyelles-sur-Escaut, France, during the Battle of Épehy, 1915. These stations were set up in improvised locations, such as castles and churches, to treat the wounded before evacuation. A decorated soldier poses next to a cannon in Paris, 1918. He wears a prosthetic on his left leg, reflecting the thousands of amputations caused by World War I. Prosthetics advanced during this period to assist those wounded in combat. Indian troops played a crucial role in World War I, especially in the Middle Eastern theater. In the Mesopotamian campaign, 500,000 Indian soldiers, alongside other British Empire forces, defeated the Ottomans and Germans. German snipers attempt to position themselves during combat in the Battle of the Aisne, 1917. Finding good vantage points was a common challenge in World War I trenches, where ambush tactics were crucial. The funeral of Sergeant Henry Nicholas, V.C., is documented in this World War I image in France. He received the Victoria Cross for his bravery and heroism in combat, becoming a symbol of courage for his comrades. King George V observes the battlefield in Thiepval, France, alongside a military commander at the site where the Château de Thiepval once stood. The Battle of the Somme was one of the bloodiest of World War I, with over 1 million deaths. German soldiers flee from a gas attack in Flanders, Belgium, September 1917. The use of chemical weapons, such as mustard gas and chlorine, was one of the brutal innovations of World War I, causing tens of thousands of casualties. In the heat of battle, a German soldier throws a grenade at enemy positions. Grenades, one of the most feared weapons in the trenches, were essential for destabilizing enemy defenses and gaining ground during the war. The Carlton Hotel in London was transformed into a massive recruitment billboard during World War I. Posters covered its facade with phrases like, "To arms," encouraging young Britons to enlist to defend their country and allies. Scottish soldiers of the 9th Cameronians advance out of a trench under heavy fire near Arras, France in 1917. The attack was covered by artillery barrages. The German cruiser SMS Blücher capsizes before sinking at the Battle of Dogger Bank, North Sea, 1915. About 800 crew members perished. This engagement was the first naval battle filmed by commercial cameramen and involved British battlecruisers. Soldiers operate a machine gun during the Sinai and Palestine Campaign, 1916. This conflict, fought between 1915 and 1918, involved British, French, and Arab forces against the Ottoman, German, and Austro-Hungarian empires, leading to the fall of Ottoman rule in the region. French outpost in Herzbach, Alsace. The region was crucial during World War I, where trench warfare became dominant, with soldiers facing extreme conditions in devastated landscapes. After World War I, nuns lay wreaths at a cemetery with mass graves. Thousands of soldiers did not receive individual burials. This gesture represents the tribute and grief of families for those lost in the conflict. The image shows Captain Benjamin H. Geary, awarded the Victoria Cross, being carried by prisoners of war after being wounded on August 21, 1918, in the Battle of Achiet-le-Petit during World War I. In 1915, the Battle of Gallipoli intensified with explosions like this one. The campaign failed, with heavy casualties among British and Australian troops. Gallipoli remains one of the greatest failures of World War I. After a Zeppelin attack, the home of veteran and blacksmith Mr. T.H. Walden in King's Lynn was severely damaged. In 1915, Zeppelins bombed England, causing destruction and fear among civilians. 3 American soldiers from Company A, 9th Machine Gun Battalion, operate a machine gun at the rail depot in Château-Thierry, France, on June 7, 1918. The Battle of Château-Thierry was crucial to the success of the Allied offensive. War dogs also faced challenges in World War I. This image shows a German veterinary hospital treating injured messenger dogs. These animals played a vital role in transporting messages and supplies, even under heavy fire. Soldiers in a French military camp in 1917, where one receives a haircut and shave. During the war, these moments of personal care were a way to maintain morale amid hardships. A French soldier rests among the vegetation around 1915. He wears the horizon blue uniform, adopted after 1914 to replace the old colorful outfits. During World War I, soldiers spent long periods out of combat, waiting for orders. In Thiepval, France, British soldiers advanced through barbed wire during the Battle of the Somme, 1916. The first day of this offensive saw over 57,000 British casualties, making it the bloodiest day in British history. The battle lasted more than 4 months. On the Western Front, French artillery soldiers stand at the entrance of a shelter during World War I. The trenches were reinforced with wood and earth to withstand bombardment. Many of these shelters served as temporary barracks and supply depots. Debris after a German bombing in the United Kingdom during World War I. Between 1915 and 1918, air raids killed or injured about 4,800 British civilians. The first attack occurred on January 19, 1915, when Zeppelins bombed Great Yarmouth and King's Lynn, remains of a destroyed German tank on the Western Front during World War I. Germany used few tanks in the conflict, such as the A-7V, while the British and French employed hundreds. The muddy terrain and artillery made the vehicles vulnerable. French officers of the 370th Infantry Regiment pose among ruins after a German attack on Chemin des Dames near Reims, 1917. The region was the site of intense fighting on the Western Front. Bicycles were used for rapid messenger transport at the front. A British soldier walks near an improvised cross in Pilkham during the Battle of Passchendaele, 1917. The battle took place under extreme conditions of mud and destruction, resulting in more than 500,000 casualties. Many bodies were buried where they fell. A woman and her child stand before the ruins of their home in Lens, France, 1917. The city, located on the Western Front, was devastated by bombardments and fighting between German and Allied troops. The destruction forced thousands of civilians into improvised shelters. Red Cross nurses posed next to a French ambulance during the Battle of Verdun in 1916. The organization trained thousands of women to serve at the front. Verdun was one of the longest battles of the war, lasting 10 months. Here, British Grenadier Guard soldiers are enjoying a race in 1918. Despite the horrors of war, moments of leisure were important for maintaining team spirit and morale among the troops. During World War I, Senegalese soldiers of the French Army rest in the Alsace region on the Western Front. These troops, recruited from African colonies, were essential to the French war effort. A soldier walks through the snow in Upper Carnia, Italy, during World War I in December 1916. The region, known for its harsh climate, was the site of intense fighting between Italian and Austro-Hungarian forces in mountain battles. Rescue dogs, known as mercy dogs, were used to aid the wounded in World War I. With their sharp noses, they found injured soldiers and provided comfort until help arrived. The image shows one of these heroes with its handler. Australian soldiers of the 8th Light Horse Regiment fought against the Ottoman Empire in the Middle East and Africa. The image shows George "Pop" Redding picking flowers during combat. Cherokee soldiers served in the 142nd Infantry Regiment of the 36th Division of the Texas-Oklahoma National Guard and became famous as the Code Talkers. They used their native language to encode messages. The image shows one of them wounded and hospitalized in Paris, 1918. The image captures an emotional moment at Victoria Station, London, in 1914. A soldier bids farewell to his beloved before leaving for war. Such farewells were common at the time, as many men departed without knowing if they would return. This image shows firefighters attempting to extinguish fires caused by German bombings in Dunkirk, France, during World War I. The city was heavily attacked, resulting in extensive damage to buildings and infrastructure. A French soldier observes the front line in the Alsace region during World War I. The area was marked by intense battles and shifting control between the French and Germans. Trench warfare dominated this sector. In Hirzbach, Alsace, French soldiers rest in a trench during World War I. The region, frequently contested, was the site of intense battles, crucial for control between France and Germany. This Algerian soldier, posing on a bridge in Pommier, France, was part of the French Empire's troops. During World War I, Algerian soldiers played a vital role, especially on European and North African battlefronts. In the Battle of Verdun, soldiers faced extreme conditions. The image shows troops immersed in mud, while some helped the wounded. Verdun was one of the bloodiest battles of World War I, with around 700,000 casualties. German soldiers pose atop a tank with the inscription "Escapade" during World War I. Tanks were introduced in this conflict, revolutionizing warfare with their ability to cross difficult terrain and break enemy lines. The scene shows soldiers observing the devastated battlefield, with overturned combat vehicles and deep craters. Destruction was a constant in World War I, bringing enormous losses and damage to landscapes. During World War I, meal breaks were essential to keep soldiers going. In this photo, a French soldier takes a break to eat bread in Reims, France, amid the exhausting routine of war. French soldiers in a battlefield devastated by artillery in West Flanders. The narrow-gauge railway was an important supply line during the war. The destruction caused by bombardments permanently altered the landscape. Wounded soldiers receiving treatment at St. Paul Hospital in Soissons, France, after the battles in La Faux. World War I spurred medical innovations, such as field hospitals, which saved many lives. Baz Goul, a soldier of the 59th Sindé Rifles Regiment, distinguished himself in the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle, March 1915. With courage, he rescued 2 wounded comrades under intense enemy fire before being struck by a German bullet. In 1915, a grenade explodes on the beach at Gallipoli, where Allied forces suffered heavy losses. The attempt to open a supply route to Russia ended up being a major strategic failure for the Allies. Canadian cyclists during World War I, photographed in 1917. Bicycles were used for reconnaissance missions and transportation, making them an essential tool for military operations. A lieutenant of the Siamese Transport Corps is photographed in Geinsheim, Germany in 1918. During the World War I, soldiers from Siam, now Thailand, actively participated as allies on European battlefronts. The first Zeppelin attack on Britain occurred on January 19, 1915, when Zeppelin LZ-38 dropped bombs on King's Lynn. This attack resulted in deaths and home destruction, leaving a strong impact on the local population. During World War I, the transportation of supplies was crucial. Here, a soldier and his horse carry boots, essential for troop mobility. Horses played a vital role in transport, even under difficult conditions. After a German air raid on Colchester on February 21, 1915, soldiers inspect the damage. This type of attack represented a new challenge for British defense in the early days of aerial warfare. Soldiers crossed the Somme River after the battle. The region was the site of one of the bloodiest conflicts of World War I, with thousands of casualties. Trench warfare and attrition strategy defined this brutal confrontation. 2 officers pose in an improvised shelter on the front line during the Battle of the Somme in 1916. The battle was one of the bloodiest of World War I, with about 1 million killed and wounded in 4 months of intense combat. A group of soldiers stands at the entrance of an underground shelter. During World War I, trenches and shelters were commonly used for protection against heavy bombardment and gunfire. The devastated landscape of war shows trees shattered by artillery, with a sign indicating the path for cargo transport. World War I caused massive environmental damage, permanently altering these regions. The destruction caused by artillery is visible in the scene, with stripped trees and a sign directing cargo transport. During the war, heavy artillery devastated vast areas, leaving deep marks on the land and landscapes. Soldiers of the 6th Battalion Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders rest under a tarp at the Ypres-Comins Canal on October 1, 1917. The use of tarps and improvised shelters was common due to the harsh weather and scarce resources. In the Ypres salient, New Zealand soldiers faced the devastating landscape of World War I. The Battle of Passchendaele in 1917 was marked by a high casualty rate, exceeding 200,000 Allied soldiers. Officers of the 105th Howitzer Battery rest in an underground shelter in Ypres, Belgium, on August 27, 1917. During the war, these shelters were essential for protecting soldiers from constant attacks and heavy artillery. Soldiers of the Yorkshire Regiment march at dusk, captured by Ernest Brooks in 1917. These regiments played a crucial role in the most intense battles of World War I. Soldiers of the 3rd Canadian Infantry Battalion, with their mascot, a goat, in August 1916. During World War I, animals like dogs, horses, and even goats were common in battalions, helping with transport and morale. Soldiers of the 4th Australian Division crossed the devastated battlefield of Chateau Wood in Belgium on October 29, 1917. The Battle of Passchendaele was marked by heavy losses and waterlogged terrain, with over 200,000 casualties. French soldiers washed their clothes at a fountain, protected by sandbags in 1917. The telephone station is armored. World War I brought innovations like mobile communication stations, essential for military strategy. British soldiers march into Lille, France, in October 1918, after 4 years of German occupation. From the summer of 1918, the Allied forces began successful counteroffensives, breaking German lines and cutting off Austrian supplies.